Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking Fenty Beauty. I have the foundation shade in 300, concealer in 290, the banana powder and the cashew powder, and I also was able to try the primer because I have a deluxe sample size of it, and so I figured why not. So if you guys want to see how these wear, then let's go. We are going to start off by using the Fenty primer. I have a little sample of it, and I'm just going to take this in my T-zone because that's where I tend to get a little bit on the oily side. It feels like a moisturizer or a facial cream. It doesn't feel thick or heavy. It has a very light scent. It feels really nice. It smells really nice too. Just very soft. I'm going to take the Fenty foundation, and this is in the shade 300, and I'm going to do one pump. Boom, one pump. And the reason is because I am using a new sponge. I've been using this sponge, and let me tell you guys, it is legit. It's this blue microfiber sponge, and it is amazing. It has a flat top, and I have one that's also shaped like a beauty blender, but this is the one that I've been using. Same texture, same consistency, where I typically go in with 2 pumps for foundation when I use a beauty blender or a sponge. With this guy, 1 is enough, because if I use anything more, it is super heavy. So I accidentally picked it up with the side, so I'm just going to use whatever's there, and I don't want to waste my pump. And now I'm going to start blending this out, and you guys will see that this pump will go a long way. I'm going to now go in with a second one, even though as you guys can see I have coverage, but I want to just get a little bit more. Yeah, I want to even it out. I have been using this sponge for about 2 weeks. And I'll tell you guys, it's pretty amazing. Typically what I do is I'll take the foundation and I'll dot it on my face and then blend it out with the sponge. I think that's probably a better approach. I don't know why I didn't do that today. But this sponge is no joke. Oh my God, I hope it doesn't wake my baby up. All right guys, so this is what the foundation looks like. As you guys can see, I have a really nice coverage. It's very much matte. I've used this before. The only thing I find with this foundation is that it tends to oxidize. I had tried shade 290, but it was a little too olive for my skin, and I didn't like it. It looked green. 300 is, it gets a little on the red side, but I'll take that over, you know, the green, because that's just not my skin tone. So, we are now going to move on and use the Fenty concealer, and this is the shade 290, and I'm okay with the concealer shade being 290. It is very creamy. It has a paddle shape applicator, and I feel like it picks up product beautifully. Like you guys, this is the side I use, and this is the side I'm going to use on the opposite eye. So I feel like it does a beautiful, I got a little concealer in my nose. It does a beautiful job at concealing. And honestly, so I've worn this already. I've tried it out, so this is not a first impression. This is me just showing you guys how the product wears. But this stuff literally does not crease on me. Like, it will stay in place. And I always get a little bit of creasing on the top of my lid. I just have oilier lids, so unless I do a primer, I'm going to get creasing. And I have lines under my eyes. I've always had lines under my eyes, so again, I'm going to get lines. Like, you'll see my lines, but it doesn't look oily. It doesn't look disturbed by, you know, my skin or my moisturizer or whatever. Like, this stuff stays put. So I'm just going to blend this out so that it blends with my foundation. So I'm going to take a little bit more of that foundation and just kind of help blend, because I am not a fan of a super white, bright under eye. That's not my thing. I like it to look more natural. All right, guys, so this is what everything looks like. And now I'm going to go in with the Fenty banana powder. I have banana and cashew. Banana, well, cashew is a great all over powder. Banana is definitely, I mean, I could use banana all over my face, and I think I'm going to do a mix of both because I'm going a little heavier where I tend to get oily. But let me tell you guys that this is not a baking product. Like, do not bake with this, because unless you're super oily, then you're gonna love it. But if you're normal to dry, this powder is like heavy duty. Like, it's super finely milled and it blends out beautifully. But if you let this puppy sit long enough, like, it starts to feel tight. So I'm just going to take this and start blending it out. I love the sponge. Like, honestly, I'm gonna be super honest with you guys. It's replacing my beauty blender. Like, I love my beauty blender. I use it in my kit, but this sponge is like perfection. It doesn't absorb your product. Your product goes a long way, and it's super easy to clean. Like, even this, once I wash it, it's gonna be like brand new. Everything just comes off super easily. None of it gets absorbed into the sponge. All right, so banana's on. I'm gonna take a little bit of cashew, I know, with a brush. And the reason why is because I am just a little extra, a little. I'm actually just wanting to add some of the warmth back into my skin. And this is a, what is this called? Wet n Wild brush. Done. Now, do you need both? No. Truth be told, I bought both because I thought that cashew would be a good all over powder, which it would be if the foundation didn't oxidize or change on me. But because it does, it's a little too right. So I think it would be beautiful, and I didn't return it because of this. For summer, this is going to be perfect for me. But it'll probably replace banana because banana would be too light. So I want to keep it. But banana is perfect. So if you're my skin tone and you're debating on getting one or the other, I would say banana. This is where I would typically go in with my Marc Jacobs bronzer, but I find that with this foundation, it doesn't work. Like, it just ends up looking really muddy on my skin. So I'm going to use a different product. I'm going to take my Bobbi Brown bronzing powder. This is in the shade 4 Deep, which you guys can see it's a little, well, not a little bit. It's definitely more red. So I'm going to go in with my Becca bronzer, or my everything brush, whatever it's called. And I'm just going to add this to the hollows of my cheeks. I'm using it to contour a little bit, but really just to add a little bit of contrast to my skin. So I wore this yesterday, the same, well, I used my Marc Jacobs bronzer, and that's when I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm not playing myself. But I had a wedding that I did makeup for yesterday. I ended up having to sit in the hotel the night before because we had a snowstorm. That wasn't horrible, but it definitely would have caused complications for me in terms of getting there on time. I needed to be there by 7:30, and I decided to stay at the hotel. So I tested it out. I wore it all day. I had it on for over 10 hours, and it just looked really pretty, like skin. This is MAC Dainty. It's one of my favorite blushes. It's so beautiful. I'm going to take this with a MAC 137 and just apply it to my cheeks. So I was in this hotel and it was super hot. Well, it ended up getting really hot and muggy towards the end. And let me tell you guys, it was rough. I was really warm, and as you guys can imagine, being in a really muggy and humid room, it's not fun. So I was really impressed because I thought that my makeup was gonna look like crap, but it didn't. It looked just like really pretty glowy skin. And I'm gonna turn down these lights because I feel like it makes me look, I mean, it is a little bit darker, let's be honest, right? But I like it. I like being a little bit more on the darker side. I know I look crazy without eyebrows, I know. So, I literally just packed up my favorite things. I was going to film, but the lighting in the hotel was just atrocious. Like, I got there, it was dark. When I got up in the morning, the sun wasn't even out yet, so I really couldn't film. So what I did was I filmed little snippets and updates on my phone, and so that's what you're going to see in this video. And you guys will see how it wears. But I will tell you guys my initial impressions because I have worn this and I have been trying it out, so I know how I feel about it. All right, guys, this is what everything looks like. I did pick at this little dry patch I had there, so if that's missing, it's because of that. As you guys can see, my skin definitely has coverage. Everything looks smooth. My under eye looks nice and set. It does not look dry, which is what I love, 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 love about this. And if you're wondering, I got this in gratis. It's one of those Lancome shakers, and it's in the shade, is it Lancome or Estee Lauder? Lancome. It's in the shade 380, and that's what I have on my lips. It's just a stain. It's matte, so it's gonna wear. And I really like the color. I like the way everything turned out. So if you guys want to see how this wears, then stick around and check out the footage. All right, guys, it's 6:50 in the morning, and as you guys can see, it's really matte, and the coverage is nice. The lighting in here is atrocious, so it's really hard to see what the foundation looks like. I'm actually in the midst of doing my hair, but I wanted to check in with you guys. And it feels a little sticky and tight. I had to put on a setting spray, but we'll see how it wears. 30, and I had a really long day doing makeup, and there's a snowstorm in Chicago. But the makeup looks really good. I was really hot. It got really muggy. But overall, I have to say it held up really well. All right, guys. So it is now 6 p.m. and I have had this on for 12 hours. And I'll tell you guys that I feel like overall it looks good. It looks glowy, natural. Of course, you can see the fading around my nose. But that's, again, very common for me. It's not like it surprises me. What I will tell you guys is that I have noticed that my foundation has oxidized, and I know that with the Fenty foundation, but it looks almost a little too dark. The other thing I've noticed is that my under eye still looks really good. It looks set, and I mean, I always have lines under my eyes, but there's like no creasing other than the standard lines I have. I can literally set it. I can do all sorts of things to it, but I will always have the lines because it's just who I've been since I was out the womb. But overall, as you guys can see, my face is still really matte. I thought that the primer would be more drying or mattifying, and honestly, I was a little concerned about just what that would look like and how it would make my skin feel. And I think I over moisturized thinking that it was going to dry the crap out of my face. So I would definitely say that if you are normal or oily, you would love the primer. It's a really nice lotion-like or moisturizer-like texture. It absorbs quickly. It doesn't feel tight or uncomfortable. The foundation oxidizes. It does. But nevertheless, it looks really good. It wears well. It looks really pretty, glowy like skin. And for 12 hours, I mean, my face looks good. Again, you see the difference. You know, I like my foundation to be a little dark, but this is like obviously dark. Looking at it in the mirror, it looks really good, but looking at it on the viewfinder, it looks much darker. I like the foundation. I like the concealer. I really like the concealer. I think it does do a really good job at staying in place. The powders I know I really like. I've used them. I feel like Cashew is a little bit darker for me, but I like to warm my complexion up. So I think that knowing that this foundation oxidizes, I would just use Banana all over. I used Banana today under my eyes. I don't even have creasing on my lids. And I always crease in my lids unless I wear a primer because I just have naturally have oily eyelids. I have to say I'm not disappointed in any of these products. I would definitely recommend them. I do think that dry skin will not like these products, especially the powder. As soon as you put the powder on, you can definitely feel that it's super drying. I don't bake with it. I just use it to set my face, but I have to say I love all the products, and I think that I really like the concealer. I really like the concealer. I really like the way I like the way I look right now. I like the way my skin looks. I like the way everything is wearing. So I don't have any complaints. I hope that you guys found this helpful. All right, guys, we're back. We are back, and I am going to talk final thoughts. If you are a dry skin tone, let's just put that on the table, then this is not for you. You're not going to like this because these products are definitely matte. The foundation is one that if you moisturize well or heavily, you can probably get away with using. But if you do not moisturize with a heavy moisturizer and you are dry skin, or if you have texture in your skin or dry patches, this is not for you. You're not going to like this. You're going to hate it. But if you are normal to oily, you're going to love it. I'm combination, so I am normal, but also can be a little dry or a little oily depending on the season. Currently, I'm a little bit more on the drier side. And I will tell you guys that on a day where I feel super dry and if I haven't moisturized properly, it feels really tight and uncomfortable. But on most days, I can definitely wear this foundation. The only concern or issue that I have is that it does oxidize on my skin, or it changes. It tends to be a little bit more of a red finish once it starts to change. But it's not anything that I'm not okay with. Like, it doesn't look like I'm an Oompa Loompa. It just looks a little bit more like I have a tan. When I tan, I don't tan golden. I tend to look a little bit more of a red brown. So I would definitely recommend this to somebody who's looking for full coverage, someone that's looking for a long wearing foundation, someone that is oily, someone that is medium or combo skin. But if you have any dryness to your skin or any texture, or if you have fine lines, this is just going to enhance that, and I would stay away from that. The concealer, I absolutely love, and I almost didn't get the concealer because when I worked at Sephora last, people were returning it because they were saying that it was really drying on their under eyes and they just didn't like the way it felt. I would tell you that if you are somebody that even with eye cream, you still have a lot of dryness under your eyes, that you're not going to like this. Again, it's the same as the foundation. I have really dry under eyes and I have oily lids. I know, it's crazy. For my under eyes, I use the Peter Thomas Roth Mega Rich Eye Cream. Because I need hydration under my eyes. No matter what I do, I'm just naturally dry. Because I use that eye cream, and because I do have an eye cream that addresses that, I feel like I can wear this. Like, I have it on now, and it doesn't look dry, it doesn't look cakey, it doesn't look bad. But again, I think it's all about what your skincare regimen is. Now, if you're somebody that isn't using eye cream yet and you're just really dry, you're not gonna like that. I find that the coverage is medium. Even building it up, I don't think that you get super full coverage, but I am not unhappy with the amount of coverage that I get. I like the way it looks. I like that it sets. I like that I don't have to worry about it creasing or making me look older than I am. I think that it does a really beautiful job at concealing. I think that it wears amazing, better than any concealer I've ever tried, even the MAC Pro Longwear. Like the Tarte Shape Tape is the concealer I've used most. I also use the NARS Complete Comfort Concealer, and they're beautiful concealers and they wear really well. This one sets and doesn't move. Like, honestly, in terms of the way it wears and longevity, this one is pretty impressive, and I love that about it. So it's definitely a concealer that I would continue wearing. I really enjoy it. I think it did a beautiful job, and again, even though it's not super full coverage, you are still getting pretty amazing coverage. Let's talk powders. Do you need 2 shades? No. I will tell you guys that initially I bought Cashew because I thought that Cashew would be the perfect all over powder for me, and I don't disagree with that, but I feel like since the foundation oxidizes on me, adding this on top of it, it just adds to the oxidation. So it doesn't balance my skin tone. It makes me look much darker than I am. However, I am keeping this because I thought it would be a beautiful powder for me when I have a tan. Also, if my foundation looks a little light, then I can use this to just kind of add some warmth and color back into my skin. So I am keeping it. And Banana is the shade that I will use all over my face. So you'll see that I end up using both powders. I used Banana first, and then I used this on top. And again, if you are dry, don't do it. Don't do it. And if you are dry, don't buy these. You're not going to like them. They're super drying. So when you put them on, you know, if you try baking with your Laura Mercier powder, it doesn't feel heavy, right? It feels like you're just adding a light powder to your face. If you try baking with these, instantly it feels really drying and heavy. It's like, and you're like, oh, I have on a lot of powder. I would not bake with these. I would not leave these on for a really long time unless you are oily. If you are oily, you are absolutely going to love her line. You are absolutely going to love these powders because they really do lock everything in place. They are beautiful and amazing powders. They are very finely milled, and there is a slight fragrance, but honestly, I can hardly detect it. Like, I only realized it had fragrance because everyone kept saying, oh, the fragrance. I'm like, there's fragrance. So I had to look for it, and there is a slight fragrance. It's not overpowering. It's not one that's like really overwhelming. It's a really beautiful fragrance. It's just very soft. Do you need this powder? I would say no. I think that if you have a powder that you really love, if you are enjoying whatever products you're using, this isn't going to be a powder that's going to replace something that you already love. I really do enjoy them. I think they're really beautiful. But to me, they're like any other powder that I use. There's nothing that to me is life-changing about these. But they are really beautiful. They are a really great quality. I think she did a beautiful job with the colors. I think she did a beautiful job with the overall product and the lines that she's just released. I think she did phenomenal. Now, the only thing that bothers me is that, well, let's start with the Pro. She does give you a little tab or cap to put on there that then you pull, but already you saw product coming out, and the product sits on top. You put it back in, and when you close it, you lose more product. And that kind of hurts a little bit. It's like, buy money, buy. But I appreciate that there is a cap, because something that people kept talking about in store was, oh, the powder is gonna get it everywhere. There is no cap, you know, blah, blah, blah. Our testers do not have the caps on them, of course, right? You want people to use the product and for it to be accessible, so it gets a little messy. But it does come in the box, which I was really surprised and happy to see. people say, oh, I wouldn't travel with these, blah, 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 blah. I'll tell you guys, I didn't travel very far, but when I stayed at the hotel, I took these with me. I packed them. I think that the stopper did a great job at keeping the product from getting super messy or even having additional product come out. So to me, that's not like a huge obstacle. It doesn't really bother me all that much, but there are people who will feel very sad and hurt about product just kind of flying away. So those are my thoughts on this. I really love these products. I think she did a beautiful job and I'm really happy about it. So I think she did a really beautiful job, and I have to say that I love the fact that she just keeps pushing the envelope. There are 50 concealers that came out. I believe there's 6 powders that really any skin tone can use, because banana is not the lightest shade in her collection, and cashew is not the darkest shade. Like there are still other shades that people can use, you know, depending on your skin tone. So if you're the lightest of the light, you're going to find something. If you're the darkest of the dark, you're going to find something, which I think to me is like the most beautiful thing. So with that being said, I think she did a beautiful job. All right, my loves. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please be sure to like it, leave any comments or questions down below, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe before you leave. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.